Yeah.
And I noticed on this one you had 2 editors that you worked with. Can you talk about how that process was different for you, how that experience was for you?
It was difficult. Like there's no, like I am not, it's one of those things I should probably just shut my mouth on, but I'm like, it was a difficult process, and I wanted to have an experience working with another editor, and it was not easy, because I'm used to editing my own material, and I chose for various practical reasons not to do that here, and one of them was, we were a union signatory film, so I wasn't in the editing guild, and I could have joined, but I was like, well, let's take this opportunity to try to learn to collaborate with somebody else, and it was, that's why we have 2 editors, and it was a difficult thing, and I look forward to making another movie in the future that I will be returning to the editing seat myself, and joining the editing union. Yes, right there.
Following that, are you happy with the final cut? And is there some main thing you would have done differently?
This is like the thing I think about all the time right now, because it's about to come out and there are reviews coming out. Some of them are good, some of them are bad, and it's like what would I have done differently? And honestly, like I can't really think about that right now, because I can and I do, but if I do, like you just start to second guess yourself, and like in a year or two, I'll be able to come back and say, look at the movie objectively and say, oh well, here's what I would have done differently. Like right now, I'm like, oh, the first 20 minutes are way too fast and I should have slowed them down. But then I might watch it like a week from now and be like, oh, the first 20 minutes are great, the rest of the movie is too slow. So it's like, I'm in a very unobjective state right now. I mean, we were shooting it, a year ago. We started shooting just over a year ago, and we edited it really, really quickly, and we, and then kept cutting it after Sundance, and it was like a very rushed process all the way through. And so I still feel like it's alarming to me that I can't go actually keep editing it, because like, oh wait, it comes out next week. We're done. This movie's done. It's so weird. And so yeah, there are always going to be things that I want to change. There are always going to be things that stick out to me, and things where I realize in hindsight, that I could have done better. But that's going to be the case with every movie I ever make. And the important thing is to just sort of like breathe and let go and move on to the next one.
Just going to abandon it at some point.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I was just wondering where the idea came from for the story about Joe Cranston and his coat from when he was 12.
Oh wow, this is awesome. No one's ever asked that. Well, it came from, there's like 3 or 4 things, and one of them is that right before the day before we shot that, no, it was like the day, a few days after we shot that, we were all excited on that weekend. Breaking Bad was coming back on, and so Bryan Cranston was on the brain, and I wrote that scene the day we shot it. So it was very last minute. In the script, that scene was just Casey. It was like Bob puts on a shirt and washes his face, and I knew there was gonna be dialogue there, but I didn't know what it would be. And so the day of the scene, I wrote all that stuff, and so the Joe Cranston was just Bryan Cranston was on my mind because I love Breaking Bad, and the jacket thing. I had, like, when I was like 18 and super goth, I had this like girl's jacket that I liked to wear, and it was too small for me, and it ripped right down the middle, and I still wore it because I thought it looked cool. And I thought it looked cool because it looked kind of like Raggedy Ann, sort of, and so that's where that came from. But I wrote like 4 different monologues for him, and that was one of them, and within the movie we combined a couple of them for that scene. And a lot of it, I wrote these things and gave them to Casey, and then he's a remarkably adept at just like taking what you write and spinning it into something new. So like that one line was like, who fought like 2 kids with a ball? Like that's all him, and I mean, it's like so much of that material is stuff that he was just taking the dialogue that I wrote and then spitting it out in his own way, which I love. It was an amazing thing to watch him do that.
You mentioned that you shot it on 35mm. I'm sure that was a conscious choice. Could you talk about that, and also talk about your thoughts on digital stuff?
Yeah, I love digital, and this is I shot a bunch of short films on 16mm, but this is the first thing I've ever done on 35. And I I love digital because, you know, I'm impatient, I like to get things right away, but I also love film. Like, it really depends on the story that the film I'm making, and you know, for some of the things I'm writing right now, like, digital is the right medium, and other things, you know, I feel should be on film. I feel like it would be sad if film goes away, because I like the choice to be there. I like the option to exist as a creative thing. And it was definitely, you know, at this point in film history, if you're making independent film, it's not a creative choice, it's a budgetary choice. And even on a movie like this, where like 10 years ago, shooting on film would not be questioned, but now, you know, the Bond company comes in and is like, why are you shooting on film? That doesn't make any sense at all, you can't afford that. And you're like, yes, we can, you know, history's on our side here. But it was still a fight to get to shoot on it. And but it was really important, because I wanted it to feel old. I didn't want anything in this movie to feel new. And all of the lights we used are old, everything is old. And you know, old in the best sense of the word, hopefully. And so film is a part of that. I feel like we could have made the movie look great on digital, and if I had shot it for $75,000, it certainly would have been digital. But given the option, which, you know, we sort of had with the budget we had, you know, film was the only choice. And it's something that I think Bradford, our cinematographer, we worked really hard to try to find like a way to like use the image in a bold way and a new way, to use the opportunities that exist in that chemical process to really create something visually striking and really, really dark.